So this is going to be the first general election where voter ID has been in place. And the reason why I really wanted to stress this today is we evaluate every poll. So every time we have an election, we evaluate that from a voter's perspective, from the staff who run the polling station, from their perspective, from our charity partners that we support, from their perspective. And what we have found from the last polls is that 5% of young people who wanted to vote were turned away because they didn't have the appropriate ID. Awareness of ID is lowest amongst young people. So if you are going to focus any of your comms or kind of support around the election, I would really encourage you to pick up this voter ID piece and really push that messaging out to who you're working with. So as I said, it'll be the first time that it's been used in a general election. So really important, not only to kind of make sure that you've got the right ID or apply for ID if you don't, but also just that messaging around you do actually have to bring it on polling day. So I will touch on some of the resources that we've got for you to be able to do that. On our website, we've got the full list of ID that is accepted for you to be able to vote. We know that ID ownership is really high amongst students and young people. So over 90% do have a passport or a driving licence. So it really is that message around it's in place and you do need to bring it is what we really need to push. Few things for you to remember that you could create some comms around is that the name needs to match whoever you have sort of registered on the register itself. So I'm annoying and have registered in my married name on the electoral roll, but haven't changed anything else in my life. And I've been married for 5 years. So it looks like that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I am having to bring my passport and my marriage certificate with me. So the names have to match up. Expired ID is accepted, providing you still look like the photo, and you have to bring the original copy of the ID. No digital apps or anything like that will be accepted. It has to be a physical copy and not photocopied. You do not need to show ID that has any gender marker on it at all. And if you do not have any ID that is listed within that, then you can apply for free voter authority certificate, which is the ID that you'll be able to use to be able to vote on polling day. You can download the form online, fill that in. It's relatively simple. You do need a photo. I know a lot of colleges have just set up like quick photo booths where they've been able to take photos for their students. But we have until the 26th of June to make sure that everyone's got the ID that they need. So 2 messages that we'd love for you to push out specifically around sort of polling day is that you can ask for help. So a lot of young people and students that we work with can be an intimidating place if you're a first-time voter, and you can ask for help if you need it. So the presiding officer who basically runs the polling station can help you cast your vote, and that's a really reasonable thing to be able to ask for. We will have, as you can see here, ask for help. There will be posters around a polling station that will encourage you to do so, and everyone should sort of have some sort of badge that identifies them as someone that you can ask for support from. So we are really encouraging that, make sure you ask for help if you do need it. And the second thing is that young people over the age of 18 or anyone over the age of 18 can work in polling stations. You do get paid for that and you do receive training. Some polling stations still need staff. So if this is of interest to anyone, then please do encourage them to reach out. You can go on our website, find your local polling station staff and the contacts for them, and get in touch and see if they do need people to support on the day. And the pay's not too bad, I will add. So that could be a good option for some students. I'm going to touch quite briefly on impartiality campaigning and hustings. So we regulate campaigning activity. And what we look for is basically how much you're spending on that and whether it's impartial, is sort of 2 sort of tests that we measure. But what I really want to say to you today is that if you are doing awareness raising activity around voter ID, around registration, that very, very, very rarely would be of interest to us. We really encourage you to do that activity. What we want to regulate is the campaigns that are persuading people to vote a certain way, and have over £10,000 spent on those activities is legally what we need to regulate. So the activity that you're doing is very, very rarely going to fall within that. So please sort of take that message from us to go post on socials, email out to students, whatever you need to do. you're a really key part of democracy, of being able to reach people that aren't on the register or don't have ID. So please take it as like a tick from us. Please carry on doing what you're doing and do even more if you can. I know that there are a lot of hustings plans, some of them online, some of them in person. And I just wanted to touch briefly on some of the rules around that. So hustings are classed as sort of campaigning, and they can be regulated by us. So hustings that are regulated by us are the ones that are selective in who they invite. So if you invite just one party and you are persuading your students to vote a certain way, then we would be interested in that. If you have sent an email or correspondence out to several parties, even if only one of them gets back to you, that's absolutely fine. You've had an impartial approach that you've used to run your hustings. And there may be real sort of genuine reasons as to why you can't fit every candidate within your hustings, and that could be fears around security. It could be that you don't have the space in your college to be able to do so. You can look at something like, we are going to invite all parties that were sitting in the last government, the last parliament, and that would be a really impartial way to approach this work. So you need to determine whether your hustings are selective or non-selective. Vast majority of what's happening within AIC and colleges is going to be non-selective and won't be of interest to us. So again, a bit of a green light that this work is a really important part of our democracy, and we're really looking forward to hearing what you're getting up to. Just some tips for you, I guess, around impartiality in democratic education, just to give you the confidence to kind of post and talk about this. My main message here is kind of keep your own political views out of it. Think about where you're getting your resources and your assets from. Are they from impartial sources? You know, if you share anything from us, we're a completely impartial organisation, so you know that that's going to give you sort of a good sort of base to be able to do this. And a lot of this is about presenting different views over a long period of time, which is incredibly challenging to do when you have 6 weeks before a general election. So providing that you are signposting to several sources, you've vetted them, you're not sharing your own political opinion, then it is impartial activity. If you've got any questions on that, just let me know. So we have a whole host of resources that you can use. We have education resources that can be used to, I guess, educate about what's happening next. We also have resources that have been created by young people and students themselves. So we have a landing page on our website, which is just for young people, and it explains all of what's going to happen from when you register all the way through to polling day in, I guess, a really accessible way, because young people have written it for us. So I'd really encourage you to signpost anybody to that. And we also have loads of sort of assets that come off our campaigns. So we run a voter ID campaign and a registration campaign across the UK. Please use this stuff. It's already written for you. It's already there. If that's helpful with whatever you're planning, even if you want to use it just to check information, check impartiality, then that will all be there for you. And I'll make sure that you've got the links for those. One thing I wanted to touch on is a new campaign that's launched this year. There might be conversations around sort of mis and disinformation in the election and campaigning on what's true and what's not. And Ofcom have partnered with Shout Out UK to develop this campaign and deliver it ahead of the election, which gives a few tips to students on how to identify what might be misinformation, what might be disinformation online. There are assets that will go along with that. So again, we can share those with you. So far, it's had a really good impact. It's had great reach since it was launched last week. But it's just, I guess, signposting to where students can get that extra support to really think about what they're consuming, what is real, what isn't, and what they should be questioning. And just trying using sort of this period to improve critical literacy skills, I think, is a really good opportunity to be able to do that. So if anyone's sort of running anything around mis or disinformation, then this will be a great resource for you. So my key takeaways from today is just to raise awareness, encourage registration, particularly around voter ID, and just bringing that along on polling day is an incredibly important message. So consider your hustings and your campaigning and looking at what's selective and non-selective. Around impartiality, just think about where you're signposting, where you're getting your resources from. Are they impartial sources? Not sharing our own political opinions. And one of the biggest barriers I find to this work is sometimes our own knowledge and understanding. I've worked at the Electoral Commission for over 3 years and I still Google things. I'm still going away being like, oh, are postal votes all counted in the same way as if you, so, it's a really difficult system, and there's lots to it. So if there's anything that you're not 100% sure about, just Google it, put Electoral Commission in at the end, and you'll find a lot of guidance and support on our website. You can direct voters there as well. It has where their polling stations are going to be, how they register, everything around voter ID that they will need. So if there's any sort of more nuanced questions that are coming through, then please send people our way to our website. But if anyone's got any questions, more than happy